Hi, this is Mary at Bensell Greenhouse in Toledo, Ohio, and today I'm talking about orchid cactuses. Ours at the greenhouse are starting to bloom, our white anyway, our white color orchid cactus is starting to bloom, and I thought this is a perfect opportunity for me to talk to everybody about how to grow them. As you're browsing through greenhouses, orchid cactuses are becoming a little bit more popular, beautiful colors, many choices. And I think one that people often recognize is, of course, the lady of the night or queen of the night blooming cereus. She has giant, beautiful, fragrant flowers, and she typically blooms July and August at nighttime. So a lot of people gather together and have parties and watch this beautiful bloom as it opens. What I have in front of me today is the white orchid cactus because they are starting to bloom. It's a little premature for them right now because typically I don't usually see these guys blooming until the end of May, June, and even into July. And sometimes they do throw out a few more blooms later in the fall. But a lot of people come into the greenhouse and say, I have these plants, I've had them for years, and they have never bloomed for me. So I'm going to go through just a couple tips that might help so that you can get your orchid cactuses to bloom. First and foremost is because they are called a cactus, it is a misnomer. Everybody thinks they need bright sun. When in reality, as an epiphyte, which means that they need a host plant to grow on, they grow in the crooks of trees, down below the canopies, and they get dappled lighting. They prefer indirect lighting or dappled lighting if you pull them outside. Direct sun is going to be very hard on them. It will burn and it will stress them out. When the plant is stressed out, it doesn't want to bloom. So think about taking them outside, never on a patio, a cement patio, anything that's getting radiant heat around it that's just too hot. So hanging from a tree, underneath a tree, under a canopy of some sort is ideal. So no direct sunlight for any of your orchid cactuses. The other thing that people don't really do is they don't fertilize. Because again, that cactus in its name tends to make people think that they don't need as much fertilizer. And in all reality, we really start upping our fertilizer for these guys sometimes January and February, depending upon the light. But often we start in March and we fertilize every time we water. They like a nice, well-balanced, like a 10-10-10 fertilizer. They don't need anything very specific, but you do need to fertilize them. And you need to start early and continue through their blooming period. Then you can tone it back again later in the fall. If you are taking these guys outside, which I highly recommend if you can, because orchid cactuses bloom even better when they have a temperature change. So the best thing that you can do, okay, is if they're always in their house on an average of between 65 and 72 degrees, that doesn't give it that feeling of a temperature change or a seasonal change, which in nature they would have. So getting them outside is ideal. So fertilizing is very, very important. Do it as often as you can with a 10-10-10. You can even cut it back if you wanted to, but fertilizing is very, very important to support these beautiful blooms that this plant has. The more you fertilize, the better chances you have of getting more blooms. And the last thing I really wanted to talk about is the soil or the pot that you're putting in. A lot of times we sell ours in plastic, but they're very heavy, they're elongated, and you don't want them to fall over. So placing them in a heavier clay-like pot might help support them a little bit better as they start to grow out. But having a very nice, light, balanced soil is super important. You don't want anything heavy. Don't dig dirt off your backyard. You just want a really nice, well-balanced soil. So if you have something at your house, make sure that it doesn't have a whole lot of peat in it so it holds moisture for too long. You really want it to drain and drain quickly, and then water it as needed. So hopefully a few of these tips will help everyone as they're going through their greenhouses, possibly stopping in here to take a look at what ours are doing and getting them into your house so you can enjoy these beautiful blooms. We've had the fuchsia, next year we'll have yellow, we have the white right now. Of course, we've always had the night blooming cereus. They're gorgeous. They're so worth purchasing and watching them bloom. It's just an amazing, amazing striking flower. So hopefully this helps and you get an orchid cactus and get it to bloom profusely at every time, every year.